Episode 16, The Lost City found Anya and her team reached the hidden city. The rainforest was a labyrinth, its secrets hidden deep within its emerald heart. Anya and her team had spent countless days and nights navigating its treacherous depths, searching for answers, for a way to heal the wounded land. Their journey was a constant battle against the elements, against the unknown, and now against time. Then, one sweltering afternoon, while hacking through a particularly dense patch of undergrowth, they stumbled upon it. A hidden clearing, a circular space devoid of the usual jungle chaos. At its center stood a structure, unlike anything they had ever seen. It was a pyramid, perfect in its symmetry, its surface adorned with intricate carvings that seemed to shimmer in the sunlight. A wave of excitement and trepidation washed over them. This was it. The lost city, the heart of the rainforest's ancient power. They had found it. As they ventured closer, the scale of the city became apparent. Towering structures, made of a strange, luminescent material, rose towards the sky. Bridges, suspended between buildings, connected the city in a harmonious network. There were no signs of decay, no evidence of human habitation. It was as if the city had been abandoned in a hurry, its inhabitants vanishing without a trace. The city was filled with an eerie silence, broken only by the rustle of the wind through the surrounding trees. The air was thick with a sense of anticipation, of secrets waiting to be unveiled. The team moved cautiously, their senses on high alert. The first discovery was a library, a vast chamber filled with shelves of books written in an unknown script. The characters were intricate, almost organic, as if woven from the fabric of the forest itself. Maya, the linguist, was in her element. She spent countless hours deciphering the script, slowly piecing together the story of this lost civilization. They found evidence of advanced technology, far beyond anything the modern world had conceived. Energy sources that harnessed the power of the rainforest, medical knowledge that could cure diseases, and agricultural techniques that produced abundant crops without harming the environment. It was a blueprint for a sustainable future, a testament to a civilization that had lived in perfect harmony with nature. But there was also evidence of a dark side to this advanced society. There were chambers filled with strange mechanical devices, their purpose unknown. And there were carvings depicting battles, suggesting a conflict that had torn the city apart. Anya felt a growing unease. The city was a place of both wonder and dread. It held the key to saving the rainforest, but it also contained the seeds of its own destruction. As they delved deeper into the lost city, a sense of awe and dread grew in equal measure. The architecture was unlike anything they had seen. The buildings were constructed with a precision that defied explanation, the materials used unknown to modern science. It was as if they had stumbled upon a civilization far more advanced than anything they could have imagined. At the heart of the city was a colossal structure, a pyramid that seemed to pierce the sky. Its surface was covered in intricate carvings, depicting scenes of a world that was both familiar and alien. There were images of the rainforest, but also of celestial bodies, of beings that seemed almost mythical. As they approached the pyramid, a sense of anticipation turned to fear. The air was thick with energy, a palpable force that seemed to emanate from the structure. Strange lights flickered around the pyramid, and the ground beneath their feet trembled slightly. With a mix of courage and trepidation, they entered the pyramid. The interior was even more awe-inspiring. The walls were adorned with luminescent crystals, casting an ethereal glow on the chamber. At the center of the pyramid was a large, circular platform, surrounded by a ring of smaller platforms. On the central platform, they found a device, unlike anything they had ever seen. It was a sphere of pure crystal, pulsating with an inner light. As they approached it, a wave of information washed over them, a deluge of images and sounds. They saw the history of the civilization, their rise and fall. They learned of their advanced technology, their deep connection to the rainforest. But they also discovered a dark secret, a tragedy that had befallen the city. The city had been a victim of its own creation. The crystal, a source of immense power, had corrupted the inhabitants. It had driven them mad, turning them against each other. In a final act of desperation, they had sealed the city, trapping themselves and the crystal within. The implications were staggering. The crystal was not just a source of power, it was a ticking time bomb. If it were to fall into the wrong hands, the consequences would be catastrophic. Anya and her team realized they were in a race against time. They had to find a way to deactivate the crystal before it was too late. But they also knew that the crystal held the key to saving the rainforest. It was a paradox, a dilemma that would test their courage and their wisdom. The central chamber of the pyramid was a place of both awe and terror. The crystal, a pulsating orb of light, dominated the space. It seemed to draw energy from the surrounding environment, feeding off the life force of the rainforest. Around the crystal, intricate carvings adorned the walls, depicting a cosmic battle between light and darkness. It was a story of creation and destruction, of hope and despair. The carvings hinted at a cataclysmic event, a war that had ravaged the city and forced its inhabitants to take drastic measures. As they studied the carvings, they realized the horrifying truth. The crystal was not a mere power source, but a weapon, a tool of unimaginable destruction. It had been created to protect the city, but it had turned on its creators. Anya felt a cold dread. They were not just dealing with a lost city, they were facing a ticking time bomb. The crystal's power was growing, and with it, the threat to the planet. They had to find a way to deactivate the crystal, to stop it from destroying the rainforest. But how? The ancient knowledge they had gathered provided no clear answers. The city's inhabitants had failed, and their solution had become the problem. Anya felt a surge of despair. The weight of the world was on her shoulders. She was not just a protector of the rainforest, she was the guardian of the planet. As they stood in the heart of the lost city, surrounded by the echoes of a forgotten civilization, they realized the magnitude of the challenge they faced. The fate of the world hung in the balance. The central chamber of the lost city was a crucible of destiny. The crystal, a pulsating heart of raw energy, dominated the space. Its light, once ethereal, had grown in intensity, casting eerie shadows on the chamber walls. Around the crystal, ancient symbols glowed with an otherworldly light, a language of power and creation. Anya and her team stood at the precipice of history. They were not just explorers, they were guardians. The fate of the planet rested on their shoulders. The crystal was a double-edged sword, capable of both immense destruction and unparalleled healing. They knew they had to deactivate the crystal, to stop it from consuming the rainforest. But how? The ancient knowledge they had gathered offered no clear solution. The city's inhabitants had failed, their technology unable to contain the power they had unleashed. Anya felt a surge of determination. She would not be defeated. She had faced impossible odds before, and she would do so again. This was their final battle, a fight for the soul of the planet. As they studied the crystal, they noticed intricate patterns on its surface, a language of light and shadow. Maya, with her deep knowledge of ancient scripts, began to decipher the patterns. It was a complex puzzle, a code that held the key to the crystal's power. Days turned into nights as they worked tirelessly. The pressure was immense. The crystal's energy was growing stronger, its influence spreading beyond the city. They could feel the rainforest dying, its life force being drained. Finally, after countless hours of work, Maya had a breakthrough. She deciphered the code, revealing a sequence of actions that would deactivate the crystal. It was a perilous process, requiring precision and courage. As they prepared to execute the plan, they knew the risks. The crystal might react violently, unleashing its full power. They could be killed in the process. But there was no turning back. The fate of the planet depended on their success. With heavy hearts, but unwavering determination, they began the ritual. The chamber filled with a blinding light as they activated the sequence. The crystal responded, its energy fluctuating wildly. The ground trembled, and the air was filled with a deafening roar. The moment of truth was approaching. The fate of the world hung in the balance. The chamber was filled with an otherworldly tension. The crystal pulsed with increasing intensity, its light growing brighter, its energy more potent. The team stood in a circle around it, their hands outstretched, their minds focused. The ritual began. Maya, the linguist, chanted the ancient incantation, her voice echoing through the chamber. The others joined in, their voices blending in harmony. The crystal seemed to respond, its light fluctuating in rhythm with their chant. As the ritual reached its climax, the crystal erupted in a blinding light. The chamber was filled with a deafening roar, a cosmic symphony of creation and destruction. The ground beneath their feet trembled, and the walls of the pyramid began to crack. Anya felt a surge of power, a connection to something greater than herself. She was at the center of a cosmic event, a battle between light and darkness. The fate of the planet rested on her shoulders. As the light intensified, a vision appeared before her eyes. She saw the rainforest, lush and vibrant, teeming with life. The crystal, no longer a source of destruction, was a beacon of hope, a catalyst for regeneration. The vision faded, and the light began to subside. The crystal, once a pulsating heart of darkness, now emitted a soft, gentle glow. The chamber was filled with a sense of peace, a tranquility that was both profound and overwhelming. They had done it. They had deactivated the crystal, turning it from a weapon of destruction into a tool for healing. The rainforest, once on the brink of collapse, was now on the path to recovery. But their work was far from over. The rainforest was still wounded, and it would take time to heal. They had to monitor the crystal to ensure it remained stable. They had to rebuild the ecosystem, to repopulate the forest with the creatures that had been lost. The road ahead was long and arduous, filled with challenges and uncertainties. But Anya and her team were ready. They had faced the impossible and emerged victorious. They were the guardians of the rainforest, the protectors of a world on the brink.